Okay, hello everyone. Hope you are fine. Now we come to the last part of chapter 10, game theory. We now tackle the last type of games, multi-stage games. These are the sequential type of games. We already covered the simultaneous one-shot game and the infinitely repeated game and the finitely repeated game. So this is the fourth type, multi-stage games. Multi-stage games differ from the previously examined games by examining the timing of decisions in games. So here there is an importance of time. Players make sequential rather than simultaneous decisions. So the players are not taking decisions at the same time, but they are making sequential decision one by one. So for example, player one takes the decision first, and then player two follows. This game is represented by what we call an extensive form game. So a multi-stage game representation is called extensive form game. This is the representation of the game. So what's the extensive form game? The representation of a game that summarizes the players, the information available to them at each stage, the strategies available to them, the sequence of moves, and the payoffs resulting from alternative strategies. So as in previous games, any representation of the game should include البلايرز مين هم اللي بيلعبوا الجيم دي، الستراتيجيز اللي هم هيلعبوها، والpayoffs that result from this strategies. بس هنا عشان this is a sequential game the timing is important. We also specify the sequence of moves, who will move first and who will move second. So in this type of game we have another information about the timing or the sequence of moves and about the information available to the players at each stage. And we will see in the next slide how we can represent this extensive form game. So this is how the sequential move game is represented. This is what we call the extensive form of the game. The circles are called decision nodes, denoting the beginning of the game. When the game begins, this is the first circle. In each circle, we specify the player who will take the decision at this point. So that's why it's called the decision node. It means that at this point, some player has to make a decision, has to make a move. So in the first circle, in the decision node 1, in which the player A is written, this means that player A will take a decision at this stage. What's the decision player A can take? It can take up or down. So these are in the arrows, we specify the strategies that each player will take. In the circle, we specify the player who will take the move. Again here B, this means that this is another decision node, another circle or decision node, means that player B will now, it's now the turn for player B to take a decision. So after A plays up, player B has two strategies, either to choose up or to choose down. And at the end, in the bracket, there are the payoffs for each player. So 10 is the payoff for player A and 15 is the payoff for player B. This is if B takes up and A takes up. So 10-15 is associated with A taking or playing up and B playing up also. But if B plays down while A plays up, then the payoffs become 5 and 5. 5 for player A and 5 for player B. The other strategy for A is to play down. So if A chooses down, B in the decision node can take a decision of up or down. If player B chooses up, the payoffs will become 0 for A and 0 for B. If B takes the strategy down, or takes the decision down, then player A payoff is 6 and player B payoffs is 20. So again, in the circles, these are B's decision nodes. In the brackets, we said that payoffs are represented. What are the feasible strategies for player A? Player A has only two feasible strategies, either to play up or down. So player A has two strategies, either up or down. Player B, on the other hand, has many feasible strategies. He can choose up if A chooses up, or down if A chooses up, or up if A chooses down, or down if A chooses down. So one of the possible strategies or feasible strategies for player B is to play up if player A plays up, and down if player A plays down. So we have, when we specify a strategy for player B, who is the second player, it should be it should include a conditional if, because we have now player A, the first mover. The player who will place first is player A. So when it comes to player B, his strategy can be to choose to play up if يعني يقلد A, to choose to play up if player A plays up, and down if player A plays down. This is one of the feasible strategies that player B can take. So since this is a sequential game, as we said, player A is the first mover, while player B is the second mover. So that's why when we say what are the feasible strategies for player A, we say only it's up or down. While for the strategies of B, it should have an if, a conditional if, because B is the second player. So he will choose to play up or down if A plays up or down. So when we specify a certain strategy for B, it should contain if, because B is the second player, is the second mover in this sequential game. This is why it's not a simultaneous game, because we have one player moving first and then the other player moving afterwards. So here in this game, player A is the first mover and player B is the second mover. In this game, a possible Nash equilibrium for this game is that player A plays down, and player B strategy to be down if player A chooses up, and down if player A chooses down. Again, why we specify the strategy for B in this way? Because it should contain an if condition, because B takes a decision for up or down based on what A does. The strategy we are calling here Nash equilibrium. Why we call this a Nash equilibrium? Return back to the definition of the Nash equilibrium. What's the Nash equilibrium? In this equilibrium, no player can improve his or her payoff given the other player's strategy. So here it's the best response of each player given the other player strategy. So to check if a strategy is a Nash equilibrium or not, you take a one player, for example, given that player B plays down if A chooses up, and plays down if A chooses down. What's the best response for player A given player B's strategy؟ فعشان أتأكد إنه this is the Nash equilibrium for player A, I have to take player B strategy as given and see if down will be the best response or not. So we can do this right now. The strategy for B is to play down, return back to the extensive form of the game to see the payoffs represented in brackets, where the first number is the payoff for player A and the second number is the payoff for player B. So when B plays down if A chooses up, B plays down if A chooses up. Here player A will get a payoff of 5 because B is down and A is up. So player A will be having a payoff of 5. While when B plays down, if A chooses down, down and down, this will get player A payoff of 6. So what's more desirable for player A, to get a payoff of 6 or a payoff of 5? of course, to get a payoff of 6. So this means that what's the player A best response given B's strategy? It's to play down, because down will guarantee player a payoff of 6 instead of 5 that player A would get if it plays up. So given the strategy of B, that B will play down if A choose up and down if A choose down, the best response for A is to choose down. So that's why the Nash equilibrium is written that player A down and player B down if A choose up and down if A chooses down. So this is the Nash equilibrium here. So we have checked the Nash equilibrium for player A. What about player B? How to check if this is actually, in reality, this is a Nash equilibrium, this is a correct Nash equilibrium or not? I have to check for player B. So to be a Nash equilibrium for player B, it has to be the best response of B given A's strategy. So we will take as given that player A plays down. What will be the best response for B? So given that player A plays down, what will be the best response for B? Is it to play up or down? If it plays up, the payoff in the bracket will be for B, for player B, will be 0. But while player B will get a payoff of 20 if player B plays down. So what's best for player B is to play down if A plays down, and this is what is written exactly in the Nash equilibrium. So I have checked that the written strategy is a Nash equilibrium, مرة for player A and مرة for player B. I have checked in both cases that this is a Nash equilibrium because given a player's strategy, this is the best response for the other player. And this is the definition of Nash equilibrium. It's the best response of each player given the other player's strategy. So for player B, when given that player A plays down, it's in the best response of player B is to play also down, because he will take a payoff of 20 instead of 0 if he plays up. So this is the Nash equilibrium. But there is a problem with this Nash equilibrium, is that this Nash equilibrium is not reasonable. It's a Nash equilibrium, but it's a not reasonable one. Why is this the case? Because player B's strategy involves a non-credible threat. هي فيها threat أو تهديد لبلاير A غير واقعي، مش هيحصل في الواقع. It's a non-credible threat. Since if A plays up, B's best response is up too. يعني when A plays up, the best response for B is to play up, because if it plays up, it will get a payoff in the bracket. The second number in the bracket is 15. So when A plays up, it's in the best response for player B is to play also up and not down, because 15 is higher than 5. So in the Nash equilibrium, we have just written the best response for player B is to play up when A plays up and not down if A plays up. So there is something wrong with this Nash equilibrium. It's not reasonable. هي مش منطقية، لأن هي مش ده best response given إنه player A plays up. فرغم الناش equilibrium اللي احنا طلعناه, this is a Nash equilibrium but it's not a reasonable one again because it includes a non-credible threat. هو ايه اللي خلى player A to choose down؟ انه خاف من تهديد player B انه يلعب down لو A chooses up. بس التهديد ده هل هو credible؟ هل المفروض player A يصدق انه player B هيلعب down لو بلاير A لعب up؟ لا, هو مش مفروض يصدق كده, لانه مش من مصلحة B انه يلعب down لما A تلعب up. هو من مصلحته يلعب up when player A plays up, لانه هياخد payoffs 15 اعلى من 5. فعشان كده بنسمي ده non-credible threat. هو وصلني الناش equilibrium, بس وصلني الناش equilibrium مش reasonable. وبالتالي we have to define another equilibrium which is called a sub-game perfect equilibrium. This is a condition describing a set of strategies that constitutes a Nash equilibrium. فهي Nash equilibrium and allows no player to improve his own payoff at any stage of the game by changing strategies. يعني in this sub game perfect equilibrium هو it's a Nash equilibrium بس هو فيه بس credible threats، في threats اللي هي ينفع البلايرز يصدقوها، ف it excludes non-credible threats. فانا في السيكونشال جيم بالذات انا بيبقى عندي ناش equilibrium بس شفنا ان هو ممكن ما يبقاش reasonable، فعشان يبقى انا متأكدة ان هو الناش equilibrium لما يبقى reasonable يبقى ده بنسميه sub game perfect equilibrium، ان هو يبقى ناش equilibrium يبقى هو لازم يبقى ناش، وفي نفس الوقت ما يسمحش انه بلاير يقدر يحسن على البايوفس بتاعته في اي مرحلة من الجيم by changing his strategy. فلو وصلت الايكوليبريم ده اللي هو بنسميه هنا بقى sub game perfect equilibrium، هو ده اللي بيبقى الناش equilibrium المنطقي للجيم بتاعتي. طيب يبقى في اللعبة اللي احنا شفناها فين احنا وصلنا لناش equilibrium وقلنا ان هو مش reasonable، وبالتالي طب انا عايزة اوصل للreasonable ناش equilibrium اللي احنا سميناه السب جيم perfect equilibrium، اللي هو بيضمن لي حاجتين، بيضمن لي هو بيبقى ناش equilibrium ولازم يضمن لي انه ما فيش لاعب هيقدر يحسن الباي اوفس بتاعته في اي مرحلة من الجيم، لان this is a multi-stage game، مش كل it's a sequential game، مش كل البلايرز بياخدوا القرارات في نفس الوقت، فايتس مالتي ستيج جيم. فانا عايزه اضمن في الناش ايكوليبريم اللي بسميه سب جيم بيرفكت ايكوليبريم ان مفيش اي بلاير يقدر يحسن على الباي اوفس بتاعته في اي مرحله من مراحل الجيم، ف this is the sub game perfect equilibrium. في اللعبه دي هيبقى sub game perfect equilibrium شكله انه player A plays up وبلاير بي الاستراتيجي بتاعته المفروض تبقى up لو A chooses up and down if A chooses down. هو ده السب جيم بيرفكت equilibrium، ده اللي هيضمن لي لازم نتأكد عشان أتأكد إنه ده sub game perfect equilibrium يبقى هو لازم في الأول يبقى Nash equilibrium. ف how to check again how to check if this is a Nash equilibrium or not، أنا لازم أشوف given زي ما قلنا given each player's strategy هل دي best response بتاعت البلاير التاني ولا لأ. فيعني given إنه player A plays up مفروض player B يبقى best response بتاعه إيه، يبقى نشوف كده في representation of the game لو A plays up B لو لعب up هياخد 15 ولو لعب down هياخد 5، يبقى هو مفروض في الناش equilibrium إنه يلعب up لو A لعب up، وده فعلا اللي مكتوب في الاستراتيجي، يبقى انا اتاكدت ان الاستراتيجي دي از اناش بالنسبه لبلاير بي لان دي هي البيست ريسبونس بتاعه لو بلاير A بلايز اب، ونبص لها من الناحيه التانية لو بلاير B دي الاستراتيجي بتاعته يبقى من مصلحه A يلعب which strategy. لو بلاير B قال انه هيلعب up لو A لعب up وهيلعب down لو A لعب down يبقى كده من مصلحة player A إنه يلعب up لأنه هياخد payoffs 10 which is higher than 6 اللي هياخدها لو down و down، يعني up و up هتديني player A payoffs of 10 down down هتدي player A payoffs of 6، فأكيد 10 أعلى من 6، فplayer A best response given player B strategy إنه يلعب up. يبقى أنا اتأكدت في السب جيم perfect equilibrium دي إنه it's a Nash equilibrium، وفي نفس الوقت الكونديشن التاني متحقق انه مفيش بلاير هيقدر يحسن الباي اوفس بتاعته by changing his strategy at any stage of the game، لانه بالنسبه لبلاير B لما يلعب up لو A لعب up هو ده احسن له لانه up بالنسبه له احسن من down لانها تديله 15 اعلى من ال5، وبقيه الاستراتيجي انه هيلعب down لو A plays down هيلعب داون لانه لو A plays down و B plays down هو player B هياخد 20 which is better than the 0، فانا اتاكدت انه player B في كل الاحوال البايوفس بتاعته هو اعلى بايوفس ما يقدرش يحسن عليها في اي مرحله من الجيم، فدي السب جيم بيرفكت equilibrium شكله كده. يبقى في الاخر البايوفس هتبقى شكلها ايه لو ده السب جيم بيرفكت equilibrium ان player A يلعب up وبلاير B قال انه هيلعب up لو A لعب up، يبقى لو بلاير A لعب up B هيلعب هو كمان up، يبقى الباي اوفس في الاخير اللعبه هتنتهي انه باي اوفس هتبقى كام بالنسبه لكل بلاير؟ هتبقى 10 لبلاير A و15 لبلاير B اللي هي البراكت الاولاني، لانه الاثنين في الاخر هيبقى الناش equilibrium او اللي هو السب جيم بيرفكت equilibrium which is the reasonable Nash، انه الاثنين هيلعبوا في الاخر up، وبالتالي البلاي اوفس هتبقى 10 ل A and 15 for B. So let's apply this multi-stage game on an entry game. So this is an application for multi-stage or sequential game. It's an entry game in which player A, or here is the A and B are firms. So firm A choose to either to enter the market or not enter the market. So in means that the firm will enter the market. Out means that the firm choose to get out or to not enter the market. So A is the potential entrant, the firm that has to make a decision whether to enter the market or not. So it has two strategies, in or out. B is the firm that is already existing in the market. How it will respond to this entry? It can respond in two ways, in either of two ways. Either to play hard or to play soft. Here hard and soft means whether the firm will engage in a price war with the entrant. So it will play hard, it will engage، هتعمل معاه حرب أسعار عشان تمنع دخولها أو تخليها تحقق خسائر من دخولها الماركت، أو إن هي to play soft يعني تشاركها الماركت من غير ما engage in a price war. فدي play soft and this is play hard. Play hard is the price war. Play soft إن هما يشاركوا الماركت مع بعض. كل زي ما قلنا كل براكت بيوضح الباي اوفس في كل حالة. فلو بلاير A ما دخلتش الماركت خالص فايتس اوت، يعني قررت ان هي مش هتدخل، هي بلاير A هي الانترنت مش هتدخل الماركت، يبقى it will take a zero payoffs، لانه اول براكت هو او اول رقم في البراكت هو الباي اوفس لبلاير A، ف it will take $0 while البلاير B اللي هي الفيرم اللي موجودة في الماركت already will take a whole $10. لو player A قررت ان هي تدخل الماركت فهنا هتدخل، فهيبقى الديسيجن بتاعته be in. player B ممكن تختار ان هي تلعب hard، وبالتالي it will engage in a price war، فهتخفض السعر قوي. ففي الحالة دي A هتخسر، اللي هي الانترنت فيرم هتخسر $1 while B هتكسب حاجة بسيطة اللي هي $1. انما لو بي قررت ان هي مع دخول A الماركت ان هي تلعب مع سوفت، يعني هيشاركوا الماركت بسهولة مش هيبقى فيه بينهم حرب، ففي الحالة دي بدل ما هي كانت بتاخد $10 لوحدها تبقى بتقسمها ما بينها وبين A، فكل واحدة فيهم will take $5. فده الشكل بتاع الانتري جيم. فهنا we can reach a Nash equilibrium 1 that player A choose to play out and player B الستراتيجي بتاعتها hard if player A chooses in. Again why did we write strategies this way؟ لأن player A هي ال first mover، فدايما first mover بيبقى عندي يا إما يلعب حاجة أو حاجة ما فيهاش if، إنما player B عشان هو اللاعب التاني فبيبقى في كلمة if، لأنه بياخد الديسيجن بتاعه بناء على what A does. he is the second mover. فبلاير B في الناش equilibrium ده هيختار انه يلعب hard if player A chooses in. طيب ده هيبقى مش السب جيم بيرفكت equilibrium، ده ناش equilibrium بس again it's not reasonable. دايما في sequential games ممكن اوصل لناش equilibrium زي ما شفنا بس ما يبقاش reasonable one. ليه مش reasonable؟ لانه في non credible threat، في تهديد. هو ايه اللي خلى player A ما يدخلش الماركت؟ ان الايكوليبريم ان player A ما تدخلش الماركت، ان player B عمل threatening لplayer A، انه firm B هدد firm A ان هي لو دخلت الماركت if player A chooses in انا هانجيج in a price war، هلعب hard وبالتالي هندخل في حرب اسعار، فهخليكي كبلاير A تخسري $1. فاللي خلى ان انا اوصل للناش equilibrium ده هو threat عاملاه player B لplayer A انه it will play hard if player A chooses in. بس هل الثريد ده credible ولا لا؟ هل مفروض firm A تصدق ان الثريد ده هيحصل، يعني ان فعلا player B هتلعب hard if player A chooses in؟ مفروض انه player A ما تصدقش الثريد ده. it's not a credible threat، لانه once ان A دخلت الماركت هيبقى من مصلحة B ان هي تلعب hard ولا soft. نشوف من البلاي اللي في البراكت، لو player A plays in او دخلت الماركت، player B من مصلحتها ان هي تلعب soft مش تلعب hard، لانه الsoft هيديها profits of $5 او payoffs of $5 which is higher than the $1 it will get if it plays hard. فيبقى if player A plays in B's best response ان هي تلعب soft and not hard، فعشان كده بنسمي الثريد ده مش credible، مش مفروض firm A تصدقه. وبالتالي Nash equilibrium ده it's a Nash equilibrium but it's not reasonable، وبالتالي مش هو sub game perfect equilibrium. امال ايه هو sub game perfect equilibrium؟ اللي هو Nash equilibrium التاني اللي هو مكتوب هنا player A انه يختار انه تدخل الماركت، يعني player A تختار in، و player B تبقى الاستراتيجي بتاعتها soft if player A chooses in. ف this is the sub game perfect equilibrium. and to check في كل حالة من دي I can check if it's a Nash or not given الدefinition اللي قلناه كذا مرة عن ال Nash equilibrium. فال Nash equilibrium معناه انه it's the best response given the other player's strategy. فgiven في ال Nash equilibrium التاني player A plays in، لو اختارت ان هي in يبقى ال best response هنا بتاعت player B انه يلعب soft لانه هياخد profits of 5 instead of 1. فيبقى دي فعلا دي Nash equilibrium لانه this is the best response. وجيفن انه من الناحية التانية بقى لو player B الاستراتيجي بتاعته soft if player A chooses in، يبقى من مصلحة player A ان هي تختار in عن ان هي تختار out، لانه in هيديها profits of 5 اللي هو اول رقم في البراكت. اول رقم في البراكت 5 و5 الاولاني خاص بفيرم A، فان هي تاخد 5 احسن من ان هي تاخد 0 لو if it chooses out. وبالتالي player A chooses in و player B soft if player A chooses in هو ده اللي هيبقى sub game perfect equilibrium. يبقى في اللعبة دي انا هوصل لانه sub game perfect equilibrium هو انه player A هتدخل و player B هتلعب soft، وبالتالي ال payoffs هتبقى في نهاية الجيم هي ال bracket 5 and 5. Okay, this is the end of chapter 10, so we are only required by the parts covered in these slides, and this is the chapter. We will next times inshallah we will begin another chapter, so make sure you read the book pages we have covered in the slides, and to make sure that you understand each type of the game until the entry game. This is the last part we covered in the chapter, and this is the end of the chapter 10.